Hi and welcome to a cEDH deck tech video for the Master of Keys. So this is an Esper graveyard enchantment orientated commander. When the Master of Keys enters, put X +1/+1 counters on it and mill X twice. Each enchantment card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost of enchantments is equal to the mana cost of that enchantment, as well as exiling 3 cards from your graveyard. In other words, this is an Underworld Breach in the command zone. So there are a lot of different potential combos that you can actually go for here. The first one, a clean reanimation strategy with the Let's Go Hullbreaker Horror. You mill yourself quite heavily with this commander, putting both Hullbreaker Horror and Animate Dead into your graveyard, and then escaping Animate Dead, reanimating Hullbreaker Horror. Now Hullbreaker Horror is just an example. You could be reanimating Rasakef, Villis, or whatever. Because with Hullbreaker Horror you can generate infinite mana. However, this takes us to the question of what is going to be the best thing to potentially reanimate. And the answer to that is Abdel Adrian, Gorion's ward. Something. When Abdel Adrian, Gorion's ward, enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you control until Abdel Adrian leaves the battlefield. Create a 1/1 white solar creature token for each permanent exiled this way. So if you reanimate Abdel Adrian with an Animate Dead, he is going to remove the Animate Dead on ETB. Because Animate Dead is no longer attached, Abdel Adrian will go back to the graveyard. And when he leaves, Animate Dead will come back and reanimate Abdel Adrian again. And here you have a loop that's going to generate infinite 1/1 creature tokens and infinite mana. Because Abdel Adrian will also be flickering your artifact, your arcane signets and Fellor stones and such. But then what? We have infinite mana, we have infinite tokens, the tokens doesn't have haste, so we can't attack and win. But what we can do is with Abdel Adrian loop, returning our commander back to the command zone, and then recast the commander X equals infinite to mill infinite. This is now going to put Thassa's Oracle into the graveyard and then use another enchantment reanimation spell to bring back Thassa's Oracle into play and win. Quite clean and simple. So far we're playing lots of artifacts, so we can cast this commander for X equals huge, so we can put the key card into a graveyard and also make that Abdel Adrian work with all of those artifacts. But we're also going to need a huge bunch of various different enchantment reanimation spells. After this, the deck is open for figuration and tweaks and improvements. But there are of course a lot of different wordy mentions, like Sevin's Reclamation. Now this is not an enchantment, it's a sorcery, but it has flashback, so it will work perfect for the project we're working on, more or less. I would also highly like to recommend Dress Down. On ETB you draw a card, it will go back to the graveyard so you can actually re-escape it over and over on every single turn. And it's a really good enchantment individually on its own. We're already going to be playing Mystic Remora, but it is a word to mention that you're never really gonna pay more than 1 on the cumulative up cost of 1, because you're just gonna recast it over and over. Necropotence is another really good word to mention here. Your plan A could actually be Necropotence in general. Use Enlightened Tutors and all the black demonic tutors to find the Necropotence, and then auto include Born Upon a Wind and Valley Floodcaller. I actually really want to highlight the importance of Necropotence here. You see, this commander actually has a really huge problem. It's quite expensive. It all looks like a clean thing. Cast the commander X equals huge, reanimate Abdel Adrian and win. The problem is, casting this commander X equals huge. Because early in the game you won't be able to. You just don't have that mana. So it will be good to have a plan A that is not commander centric, doesn't require the commander whatsoever, but will synergize with the commander as well. Because if someone is counterspelling your Necropotence, it goes to the graveyard. You can just cast this commander X equals 0, don't mill anything, but now suddenly you can rebuild your Necropotence game plan completely. And now suddenly this commander is looking really hot because the Necropotence combo is actually quite good. And being able to win without the need of the commander is actually a recommended thing to do, or try to build your deck towards. But when the commander is also synergizing with that concept, Yes, that's great. I would like to recommend Mana Drain for this build. Mana Drain can actually be used like a ritual. Once again, this commander is demanding a lot of mana, and Mana Drain can be used to acquire that mana to cast X equals huge. Copy artifact. At worst, it's a 2 mana arcane signet. At best, it's a 2 mana the One Ring. I would love to recommend Dance of Many, auto include this enchantment. When Dance of Many enters, create a token that's a copy of target non-token creature. The goal here is to copy an opponent's Dockside Extortionist. When Dance of Many leaves the battlefield, exile the token. When the token leaves the battlefield, sacrifice Dance of the Many. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Dance of the Many unless you pay 2 blue mana. You're never going to pay the 2 mana for this. You want it to die so you can re-escape it and copy Dockside Extortionist once more to keep looping this. But also if you're able to sacrifice the token or bounce the token with a Chain of Vapor, or somehow sacrifice the enchantment, you can re-escape the enchantment and make a new copy of the Dockside Extortionist, really playing that typical Dockside Sacrifice Underworld Breach strategy. I've made a lot of videos showcasing that clones are really good, like Phantasmal Image, Flesh Duplicate, Mockingbird, etc. They're great. You should play a huge bunch of them, and Dance of the Many being an enchantment, you can escape it. Yeah, it's a great card for this kind of commander. So far amazing, but let's look at some self-milling cards, because some people might be onto that. In general, I don't recommend this pathway because you might enter into a trap. Now, self-milling with this commander will be good, but you might be starting to include bad cards just because you want to do synergy. And you don't want to include synergy without the individual cards being great on their own. So here I would love to mention Intuition. So you have your commander in play, you cast Intuition, and you find 3 whatever enchantments, and whatever your opponents are giving you, you're going to get that. You can actually get all 3, never mind. Windfall is also a great card of fueling your graveyard. It's also a great card of fueling your opponent's graveyard, so bear in mind. But other than that, you should try to fill your deck with counter spells, good creatures like Esper Sentinel, Opposition Agent, etc. If you wanna see exactly card by card how I put this deck together, then link in the description below of this video. But I do think that this is a very open commander with lots of different potential ways that you can actually build it, as there are a lot of different enchantments that you can potentially go for, and you can definitely tweak the core combo game plan if you want to, but I do recommend trying to staying on Necropotence and having Abdel Adrian as a reanimation package ideal going for. So you could summarize something like Plan A Necropotence, Plan B using commander to reanimate Necropotence, Plan D Abdel Adrian reanimate, Plan C Voltron, because once again this commander actually enters with a lot of +1/+1 counters and it has flying, so you can punch people really hard. Suddenly all of that actually looks kinda good, because Plan A Necropotence is a good game plan. Plan B reanimating Necropotence is still quite good. And player removal is definitely the best removal. And this commander is definitely going to be able to do some player removal. Regardless, thank you so much for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.